For more on the crisis at our southern border, let's bring in North Dakota Republican Senator Jon Hoeven. Senator Hoeven, you've been looking at this for a long time, I know. Are things going to change with the arrival of the second Trump administration?
Oh, absolutely, John. You're going to see changes right away. For example, President Trump's going to reinstitute policies that were very effective during his first term, the Remain in Mexico policy and the third safe country. He'll sign those executive orders, I'm sure, day one when he takes office, and that will have a tremendous effect. But we're going to go to work right away as well. And the very first legislation you'll see us working on, which will use a process called reconciliation, will be all about building a border wall and doing more to secure that border. It's an absolute priority.
It seemed like a lot of Democrats didn't want to pay attention to the situation at the southern border during the Biden years, but all of a sudden, Governor Gavin Newsom of California shows up there. Here's some of what he had to say. Listen.
Co-opting local law enforcement to make them federal immigration is not something consistent with the law of the state of California that was upheld by the federal courts not too many years ago by the Trump administration that tried to assert that that was an unconstitutional act, SB 54. Turns out on the basis of their actions and the federal court's adjudication that it indeed is not.
So he's saying that California is basically not going to cooperate with the Trump administration wherever they can. What do you make of that?
Well, you know, they're a sanctuary state. He's taken that position. He's actually moved around on this, initially saying that, you know, that it wasn't a problem. Now starting to say something different. In any event, you know, his approach is absolutely the wrong approach. Sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, and the people in this last election came out overwhelmingly voting for Trump. And this was absolutely one of the priorities. Border security is national security as well as safety in our cities. And so that's why we're going to take all these steps right up front. Like I say, building the border barrier, we'll use the budget reconciliation process to do that because we can advance that funding for a border wall without needing Democrat votes in the Senate. You're going to see that right away, doing more to support ICE and HSI in terms of removing people that shouldn't be here who came illegally. And so, you know, whether it's Gavin Newsom or anyone else, this is something the people of this country want, and elected leaders better respond. Border security is national security.
It is. The president-elect, President Trump, has taken a lot of heat for suggesting that he would use the military for removal operations or even for patrolling the border. He's taken heat for that, but a president is allowed to request that local governors deploy the National Guard, is he not?
Oh, absolutely. And we've been doing that. But the reality is this, with the right policies in place, building the border barrier as we're going to do, and we're going to fund that up front the full 4 years so we can get it done. We're also going to work to see how much of this legislation we can actually codify in terms of taking those policies that President Trump has put in place very effectively and will reinstitute, if we can actually get them into statutes so they survive, you know, into the next administration. Those kind of steps are what will secure the border. We shouldn't have to use the National Guard to secure the border because DHS can do it. So Governor Noem, Tom Hoeven, they're going to, you know, they'll be taking over the leadership role, and with the outstanding men and women of DHS, Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol, ICE, HSI, they can do the job if they have the leadership and they're given the tools to do it.
Let's talk about the pardon situation. President Biden famously said many times that he would not pardon his son Hunter. All of a sudden, over the Thanksgiving holiday, he did so. And there's talk that the White House might be issuing blanket pardons for other people who may have, well, misbehaved, I guess you could say, during the Biden term. What do you think about the prospect of issuing a pardon to somebody like Dr. Fauci? His is one of the names that's rolling around out there.
People are already unhappy about the pardon to Hunter Biden, and particularly after President Biden repeatedly said that he was not going to do it. And then he not only provides the pardon, but it's this preemptive, expansive pardon that runs all the way from January 1, 2014, all the way through 2024. So 10 years of of who knows what. And now President Biden's talking about more of these preemptive pardons for other people. You listed them earlier. Clearly, that's something that people don't support and don't want to see.
North Dakota Republican Senator John Hoeven. I wish we had more time. Thanks, Senator.
Thanks, John.